Hi everyone. Hello. Welcome to ENL1110 Business Communication Section 1B. My name is Farah and I am your instructor for this course. As I mentioned in our introductory class, um, introductory video, we discussed about how this June session will be 100% online class. Therefore, it's going to be quite a challenge because we both have to be a bit more disciplined in organizing our time and making sure that we finish all of our tasks before the due date. Okay, it's going to be an interesting experience. So we'll see how it goes. If you have any trouble, any questions, or any kind of inquiry, all you have to do is just ask me in the WhatsApp group, or if you feel like it could be slightly personal and you want to DM me, or you want to personal message me, or even you can email me, and I will try my best to accommodate to your learning. Okay, so let's get going and see what we're going to learn today in today's video. What we're going to do today is that, first of all, I want to see if you guys can remember a thing or two from what we discussed in the introductory video. We also shall be looking at different types of sentences because knowing different types of sentences will greatly help you to understand the three sentence errors. Now, the three sentence errors that we'll be discussing about today are fragments, comma splices, and also run-on. Basically, these sentence errors is only it's our way of reverse psychology and teaching you guys these are the common mistakes that a lot of students will eventually do, and please do not do it. So it's errors, mistakes. So it's grammatically incorrect. We'll be discussing more about it in a bit. And in today's lesson as well, I'm hoping to cover parallelism, because when it comes to writing, parallelism is also very, very important. Are you guys ready? Let's get into this. Now, before that, can you just simply pause this video? Okay, please pause this video and look at these questions without looking at your notes from the introductory session, and try to sort of like answer these questions using the basic knowledge that you would have before you sort of like come here and watch this video. Can you tell me what is the name of ENL 11101B section 1B instructor? How many percent is your test? When is your group assignments going to due? And also, how much is your final exam? Can you please pause this video and try and answer these questions? I'm waiting for you. All right, I hope you have paused and tried to recall few information from our previous video. So first of all, my name, I am your instructor. My name is Wan Farah Wan Shamsuddin. You can refer to correct spelling of it in Blackboard. I am teaching ENL 1110 section 1B in particular, 1B. So we have a couple assignments and assessments going on for ENL 1110. Let me just briefly recap you guys on that. This table basically illustrates all of the important dates and also weeks for this course. Now you have two tests. One is in week 3, so please save the date. So please book your calendar and make sure that you should be available during this time, because Thursday, 19th of June at 10 a.m., which is also in the schedule, your time for your ENL 1110 time on your course schedule. So you should be free during that time. We will be having our first test, and that will be 15%. Test 2 will be in week 5, which is on Thursday, 2nd of July at 10 a.m. as well, and that is 15%. So when it comes to these two tests, these two things will be an open book test. So when it comes to open book tests, you guys have to be um, gracing our grace gracing yourself in this online presence. By all means, you also need quite a stable internet connection and also some devices in order for you to do the test. So I need you guys to have your own laptop, or you can simply borrow anybody's laptop, and making sure that you would have internet and also the devices on these 2 days. So the reason why I'm telling you guys in advance is that so that you guys can plan your schedule ahead and make sure that you guys are available on these 2 times. Okay. So if you have any concerns, any troubles, please do inform me by emailing me formally, because I need to organize a different test maybe for you guys, and we'll see how we can go and help you guys on that matter. Okay. But if you have no issues, you need to be, you have to take these two tests, test one and also test two, in week 3 and also week 5. You also have 2 more group assignments, which are written report and also oral presentation. Now, maybe I don't know if you guys are first year, first semester. I'm not too sure about that. But the reason, one of the other reasons why we have the WhatsApp group as well, is that so that you guys can sort of like introduce yourself to some of your friends, and you guys can choose your own groups for these 2 assignments as well. And these 2 assignments will due at the end of the semester, which in week 7. All right. So if you still have any concerns or any troubles, you can simply go back and refer to the weekly PTP plan and have a look and sort of like organize your time. Okay, not to forget, we also have a final exam, and your final exam will be announced. Um, I think maybe in week 7, or the, yeah, maybe in week 7 you shall be knowing the time and also date for your final exam. It's going to be fully online as well, similar to your test 1 and also test 2. You have to have a stable and good internet connection. But if you are struggling with that, we will try our best to accommodate to your learning. All you have to do is just email us and let us know. Okay? Your final exam will be 40% of your whole coursework. Okay, cost marks for these ENL1110. Right, I want to remind you guys the weekly tasks that we have online that I put on your blackboard, the to-do list, all of those things constitute to your attendance. Okay, so these are the assignments and also assessments that are graded. Now, even if you watch my video here, right, what you're doing right now, you're watching my video, and I'll, take you as attended my lecture. But if you, simply watch all of the videos, but you did not come for your test 1 or test 2, you didn't complete your written report or even oral presentation, you did not submit your video, hence you will not get the marks. Please concentrate on these assessments illustrated in this table. Now, even if you were absent for your final exam, you still have the risk of failing this course, simply because you weren't there and finished all of your courseworks for your this class. Okay, so please make sure that you complete all of these tasks. So if you happen to have any trouble, for example, if something happened in week 3 and you cannot take the test, please do email me immediately to reschedule your test. I'm not a monster. I'm open for communication. All you have to do is just let me know. All right. So let us go into the syllabus and also what you guys will be learning for this course in ENL1110. So basically, in the beginning of this semester right now, we will be focusing a lot on grammar. So the reason why we want to focus on grammar, because we want to prepare you guys into giving you guys a complete and hopefully thorough, quite briefly, on the fundamentals of writings before you actually start writing. Once you're done and finished with the grammar, hopefully this week, and then we shall be continuing and talking about essays next week, and then we shall be moving into your business writings and reports later in this course. Okay, so we're going step by step in order to help you guys to have better and good English. Okay, Now let's jump into our first topic today. In today's class, we will be learning about three different types of sentences. We have simple sentences, we have compound sentences, and lastly, we have complex sentences. Now these are very, very good information for you to know because this will reflect your proficiency as an English user. Okay? Right. So my first question to you guys, what makes an English sentence? So in order for us to create one grammatically correct English sentence, what do we need? Okay, let me drink my coffee. Right. In order for you to have a grammatically correct English sentence, the rule of thumb, if you can say it, the standard, the active voice of constructing an English sentence, your English sentence your English sentence should consist of a subject, a verb, and an object or an idea. Then you put a full stop. With these three components, you would be able to create one grammatically correct English sentence. Okay? Subject, verb, object, and idea. SBO. I'm pretty sure your high school teacher have pointed this out. So I'm just basically recapping back on what your teacher have mentioned um, from your high school or maybe from your primary school. So in order for you to create one grammatically correct English sentence, you need a subject, you need a verb, and also an object or an idea. So I want to talk to you guys into different languages because obviously we both, like you perhaps would have a different first language than I do. English is definitely not my first language. English is my second language. My first language is definitely Malay, and it's my mother tongue. Um, I learned a couple more languages throughout my life. So I really wanted to share a few sort of like language on how language operates because I feel like this is very, very interesting. Now, here I'm using three different languages that I know. So first we have English. So as I mentioned, in order for you to have a grammatically correct sentence, you need a subject, a verb, an object, or an idea. Am I right? Now let's investigate and see how language operates. So first we have a subject, verb, object, and idea. We have here a sentence that I have broken down into different components as we said it just now. So the first sentence here we have, I am going to the market. I am going to the market. I here is the subject. I, subject, a person. Here is the subject. Am going. Am going means verb. I'm going there. So that these two are verbs. To the market. So I, who is that person who's doing the action, is the subject. I am going. What kind of action is that person doing? So verb. To the market is the idea or the idea of the whole sentence itself. So from one single sentence with 6 words, I am going to the market. I have divided into three different components: subject, verb, object, and idea. I, subject, I'm going is the verb, and to the market is the object or an idea of it. Okay, so that is English. But let's take a look at different languages now because we don't know if other languages would have different structure. Yeah, so let's take a look into Malay language. I'm pretty sure some of you guys know Malay because we're Malaysians. Most of us are Malaysians. So, saya pergi ke pasar. Saya is the subject. Me, I. The verb here is pergi, go. Ke pasar is the idea of the whole sentence. Ke pasar. Full stop. Okay, so what can we see? What I can see here from these two sentences here, first of all, I can see that Malay and English have the same structure. Both languages follow subject, verb, object, or idea structure. So, in order for us to have one complete sentence for both Malay and also English language, we can follow the formula of subject, verb, and object or idea. What does it mean? It means that when you try to translate going from English to Malay and Malay to English, there is not much trouble going on there in terms of the structure because we have the same structure. But what I'm seeing the problem here between Malay and also English language is the verb here. So if you can see the verb in English, there are two verbs, am going, whereas in Malay language it's only one. So if we were to investigate the verb English am going, this is what kind of tense are we using? We are using present continuous tense. Right now, I'm going to the market. So when it comes to English language, verb is always so much details. There are different tenses, different times. So we have past tense, we have future tense, we have present tense, not only tenses, we even have, continuous, past participle, all those complicated stuff, which is why English is a little bit harder as compared to Malay language. Because Malay language is very simple. Past tense, future tense, going, we only have the word pergi to basically indicates for right now, present tense, future tense, or even in past tense. So basically, what I can say, Malay language is very simple, if you can say it. Now, so because we have Malay and English, which are basically sort of like common language, if you can say it, let's have a look into Korean language now. So here we have 저는 시장이 가요. 저는, 저는. So 저는 is I. 시장이, 시장이 means to the market or market. Market. 가요. Ka means going to. So what we can learn here is that Korean language does not follow the same structure as English and also in Malay language. Because here we can learn that 저는 is the subject, 시장이 is the idea of it, 가요, going to. So instead of having subject, verb, object, Korean language has a different has a different structure. The structure for Korean language is subject, object, and verb. What can we learn here? Different languages would have different structures, and that what makes them unique. What we can also learn here when it comes to translating from Korean language to English language or vice versa, the speakers might have some troubles with the structure because the fundamental structure of both languages are different. That is it for the comparison between languages. I hope that you guys found this very interesting. And I think that if you guys are into this, you guys can go ahead and learn a lot more on linguistics, which is something that I'm majoring into for my master's degree. Okay? So now let's have a look into the three different types of sentences. As I mentioned, we have three different ones. We have simple, we have compound, and also we have complex sentences. Let's have a look into each one of these sentences. So why are we learning this? Basically, the main reason why we're learning on different types of sentences because that will help you to get a higher marks in your English test. Not only for this subject, but also when you're preparing your report for your final project, where you have to write your report and also maybe assignments in English. You want to show that you have good proficiency in English. Am I right? Or even if you want to study overseas, you need certain English proficiency tests like IELTS or TOEFL or even TOEIC if you're going to Japan. So if you want to go and take those tests, English tests, you need to employ and to utilize this skill of using three different types of sentences in your writing. Now, if we can look here, this is the rubrics of how people or how instructors would mark in IELTS tests. So we have MUET, we have IELTS. So if you want to get higher marks and higher bands for these English tests, you need to use a lot more here. If you can see this, if you want to get band 6, you need to use a mixture of simple and complex sentences. If you want to get band 7 for writing, you need to use a variety of complex structures. Okay? Whereas if you want to get band 8, you want to use a wide range of structures. So not just, complex and not just compound, but a mixture of everything. So as you can see here, this is the reason why we need to learn these different types of sentences so that you can, mix everything and, use these sentences correctly. All right? So let's just jump into the first type of sentence, which is on simple sentences. So just now we learned that an English sentence comprises of a subject, verb, object, or an idea. So basically, simple sentence is that. So simple sentence is a sentence that is the most basic part, which has a subject, a verb, and an object or an idea. So let's have a look at some of the examples of simple sentences. We have here, I am a teacher. Can you guys pause this video and try to break down these sentences into subject, verb, object, and idea? Can you do that? So if we were to break down the first sentence here, I am a teacher. Where is the subject? Subject is the person who's doing the action in the sentence. Is the I. Where is the verb? Verb is an action. So here the verb is am. Am is the verb be, which is indicating a state verb. So am here is the verb. A teacher here, a teacher is the object or an idea of the whole sentence. Okay? I, subject, verb, am. A teacher is the object or an idea of it. Alright? Now let's take a look at the second sentence to help you guys to learn more. Second sentence, where is the subject? Subject in the second sentence here is she. Very good. Well done, she. Where is the verb? The verb here is took. So this is in past tense, took. Where is the object or an idea of this sentence? A cab to the airport. So most likely you would have a longer object or an idea of it. Okay? What about the last sentence? Can we try and break down the last sentence all together? Where is the subject? Very good. The subject for the third sentence here is we. Where is the verb? The verb here are having. Are having. Now, similar to what I showed you guys just now, English verbs are so complicated. Sometimes it's only one word like am and took. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 words, depending. Okay? Having pizza for dinner tonight is the object or the idea of the whole sentence. Got it? It's very easy, right? Okay? So not necessarily if you have longer sentences, it means that it's not simple. Sometimes a long sentence like the third sentence is also a simple sentence. All you have to do is just find if it comprises of subject, verb, object, or idea. As simple as that. Okay? Now please remember, these simple sentences is something that we call as independent clause. Simple sentence equal to independent clause. Okay? Why do we call independent clause? We call it independent clause because if you put a full stop, it can become a complete sentence by itself. But if you want to be creative, you can add more words and it will become a different type of sentence, which I'll be talking more in a bit. Now, do you understand about simple sentence? Awesome. Good. Now, let's move into the second type of sentence, which is on compound sentence. Now, just now, if we remember, simple sentence is something that we call as independent clause. Therefore, it means that independent clause consists of subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object, or an idea of it. Now, if we have a compound sentence, it's basically a combination of two or more subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. We combine it to become compound sentence. But when you want to combine subject, verb, object, independent clause with another independent clause and subject, verb, object, you need a special type of conjunction in the middle to combine these two, which is what we call as coordinating conjunctions. Okay? So remember, the definition of compound sentence is for you to have two or more independent clauses. Two or more independent clauses. So let's take a look at an example here. We have two sentences here. We have I am a teacher. My wife is a lawyer. So I am a teacher. Is that independent clause? Let's try and break it down. Where is the subject? I. Where is the verb? Am. Where is the idea of it? A teacher. Good. So this is an independent clause. What about my wife is a lawyer? Where is the subject? My wife. Where's the verb? Is. What is the idea of this sentence? A lawyer. So basically, these two are independent clause. But if you want to become creative and if you keep on doing just simple sentences, it means that your level is just primary school kids. Okay? Primary level. So you need to, step up your game and try to show, no, I'm not primary school kids, I'm a university student. I can do compound sentences. So you don't want to keep on doing simple sentences over and over and over again. So you want to do compound sentence now. All you have to do is try to combine these two independent clauses using a special conjunction. The conjunction that you guys will be using is something that we call coordinating conjunctions. Okay, coordinating conjunctions. So by combining I am a teacher with a special coordinating conjunction and with another independent clause, my wife is a lawyer, and you put full stop, the end. You have made a compound sentence. Easy, right? So it's something similar here. She tried to lift the suitcase. This is an independent clause. Another independent clause is the suitcase was too heavy. So try to add another coordinating conjunction here. But you also want to not make people confused with it. So you add the pronoun it here. So it here is referring to the suitcase. So she tried to leave the suitcase, but it was too heavy. Okay, all right. Now let's talk about coordinating conjunction. I have compiled everything for you guys and make it easier for you so that you know coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunctions. If you want to remember coordinating conjunctions, just remember fanboys. Fanboys. F for a and, nor, but, or, yet. So, easy. So remember, for compound sentences, you have to use coordinating conjunctions, which are these fanboys. Okay? Please memorize these. For, and, nor, but, or, yet. So, 7. Alright? So I just want to highlight on a lot of mistakes that a lot of our kids, students will do eventually. So a lot of them got confused and they think that, okay, subject, verb, object, what an idea. Am I right? So here, if we look at this sentence here, Joe and Mary waited for the train. Now here we have conjunction and, but remember, subject, verb, object. Where is the subject in this sentence here? The subject for the first sentence here is Joe and Mary. So Joe and Mary here is the subject. Joe and Mary is the subject. The verb here is waited. For the train is the idea of this whole sentence. So this is actually a simple sentence, not a coordinating conjunction because, sorry, compound, compound sentence. So this is not a compound sentence because really there is only one single independent clause. But a lot of students get confused because they think the word and here is combining Joe and Mary, whereas Joe and Mary are the subjects that we're talking about. Do you get it? Okay, so similar to the second problem that a lot of students would do, Joe waited and stood on the platform. Joe is the subject, waited and stood. Here are the verbs. Sometimes in one single sentence, you can have more than one verb. Waited and stood are the verbs. On the platform are the idea of it. Okay? Joe waited and stood are the verbs for it on the platform. Now, even though that you have the conjunction and here, does not mean that this is a compound sentence. Okay, this is a simple sentence. Lastly, I think it's the same thing, but now a lot of students they get confused because there are two subjects and also two verbs in one single sentence. So we have Joe and Mary waited and stood on the platform. So the subject here are two people, Joe and Mary. And the verbs here are also two, waited and stood. On the platform is basically the whole idea of it. Hence, the third sentence here is also a simple sentence, not a compound sentence, even though there are these um, conjunction and here. Why? Because remember, compound sentences need two or more independent clause. Got it? Now I want you guys to take a photo of this. Grab your phone, take a photo of this, and I want you guys to do this exercise. And then we will be having a special consultation on Thursday. I have tried to refrain myself from not having an online live session, but I feel like if we can have this consultation, I would be able to teach you guys better in a way that you guys can tell me if you don't understand. I can help you guys on that. So we shall be having a live session on Thursday, but it's not compulsory. If you cannot attend the session, it's fine. All you have to do is just watch the recording. Okay, so please try and do this exercise on your own, and then on Thursday we shall be discussing about this exercise. Okay, right. Let's move into the final type of sentence, which is on complex sentence. So when we talk about complex sentences, just now we have independent clauses, right? Subject, verb, object. Now, independent clause can become one single sentence by itself, which is the simple sentence. But complex sentence consists of independent clause, subject, verb, object, subject, I, verb, watch, TV for an hour is the object or the idea of the sentence, together with a dependent clause. So dependent clause is when you have a clause that cannot become a sentence by itself. So if we look here, when I got home from work yesterday, it's hanging, it's incomplete. So you need more information about, the sentence. So it's a dependent clause. Take a look at complex clauses, complex sentences. So basically, complex sentences is a bit more complex because it consists of dependent clause and also independent clause. And in between of independent and dependent clause, we need another type of conjunction, which is subordinate conjunction. So let's take a look at an example here. I love to travel because I get to meet a lot of interesting people. I love to travel is the independent clause. I is the subject. Love is the verb. To travel is the idea of it. So basically, I love to travel, full stop, is a complete sentence by itself because it's an independent clause. But because I get to meet a lot of interesting people are dependent clause. Because here is the subordinate conjunction. Because I get to meet a lot of interesting people is hanging. Okay? Alright, so what are subordinate conjunctions? Subordinate conjunctions are words like after, before, since, until, when, whenever, why, whereas, where, whatever, because, as, although, even though, that, which, who. A lot, the list goes on and on and on. So these are some of the subordinate conjunctions that you guys can remember. Okay? So basically, if you can find subordinate conjunctions, most likely that it is a complex word, a complex sentence. Okay, and when it comes to complex sentence, it needs a dependent and also independent clause together with the subordinate conjunction. If you are able to identify different types of conjunctions like subordinate conjunctions, you will immediately know that this is a complex sentence. And if you know that that sentence uses coordinating conjunction, you will immediately know that that sentence is a compound sentence. As easy as that. Now try to do this exercise. Label the dependent clause and independent clause in the following sentence. Let's try and do the first one only. Even though the exam is quite difficult, all of the students passed. Can you tell me where is the independent clause, where is the dependent clause, and also where is the subordinate conjunction? Can you just please pause this video and try to do this exercise by yourself? Mm-hmm. Done? So let's take a look at here. So obviously, even though here is the subordinate conjunction, the exam is quite difficult. So even though the exam is quite difficult, that is the dependent clause. Why? Because it becomes dependent because of the subordinate conjunction there. Even though the exam is quite difficult, if you put a full stop there, it's hanging. Just like how some people say, even though the exam is quite difficult, and you'll be like, uh-huh, so? So it's incomplete. You need more information about it. But for all of the students passed, so if you say, or if you have a sentence that say, all of the students passed, full stop, that can simply be a sentence by itself because it's a independent clause, which is a simple sentence. Okay, so this is complex sentence. All right, so we shall be looking into recapping this one back again on Thursday if you feel like it. I think this can be slightly hard, but do not worry, you guys won't be tested this on your test one. But these are very necessary informations and skills that I feel that would greatly help you to write better in your writing. Okay? So if you guys are ready, now I want to talk about sentence skills now. Sentence skills. So first of all, I shall be showing you guys some questions, and I want you to tell me if there is any grammar errors, mistakes that you can find in these sentences. And if you feel like this sentence contains error, how can you make it correct? How can you make it as grammatically correct sentence? Can you try and do this? Right. So I hope you have done this. If you cannot do this and if you feel like this is quite hard, it's fine. Do not worry because you haven't learned this yet. I'm just playing around with you guys. what we're going to learn in a bit is that we shall be learning into what are some of the common mistakes that students often do when it comes to writing. And then this is just a quick reminder on not to do these errors. We're using reverse psychology by showing you guys bad examples so that you guys won't do this. Okay, so if we look here, the first sentence here is wrong, it's grammatically incorrect because this is something that we call a run on. The second sentence here is fragment because as a new year and a new dawn is a new year and a new dawn in Malaysia is hanging. So this is a fragment, therefore it's incorrect. Third one, the animals stampede across the savannah, hunters chase them down. So this is also an grammatically incorrect sentence. This is something that we call comma splice. And lastly, the last sentence here is actually correct. It's grammatically correct. Okay? So if you didn't get any of these, it's fine, chill, relax, it's okay. So I hopefully at the end of today's class, you should know why these sentences are wrong and how to correct them. Okay? So firstly, let's talk about what is fragment. Just now we talk about what makes an English sentence, right? Subject, verb, object. Basically, a fragment is when you don't have one of these components. If you don't have a subject, you immediately have verb and object. It's incomplete. Basically, fragment is anything that makes an incomplete sentence. Okay, let's take a look at this sentence here. The university has enrolled nearly 2,000 students for January 2016. Do you think that this is complete grammatically correct? Yes? Why? So if we go back here and take a look at by using the formula of subject, verb, and object, can you tell me where is the subject? So here the subject is the university. Very good. The university is the subject of this sentence. Has enrolled is the verb for this sentence. And lastly, nearly 2,000 students for January 2016 is the idea of the whole sentence. So basically, this is correct sentence. So a lot of people say this is a correct sentence, but why? First, because it has a complete meaning. Second, because it does not leave a room for doubt so that you don't ask more question about it, and does not acquire any more information to make it clear. And lastly, because it has subject, it has verb, and also complete idea of the whole thing. But some people just want to make it a bit more complicated. So they add more words into it. I think the university has enrolled nearly 2,000 students for January 2016. Is this grammatically correct? Yes, this is grammatically correct. But what if you insert some words like while? While the university has enrolled nearly 2,000 students for January 2016, is this making it complete? It's not. Why? So just now, if you remember about complex sentence, you remember that we have independent clause, we have subordinate conjunction, and also dependent clause. Am I right? So the word while here is actually a subordinate conjunction. So if you have subordinate conjunction followed by a string of words, automatically it means that that sentence becomes a dependent clause. Remember, dependent clause cannot function without another independent clause. But if we look at here, there is no more independent clause because while the university has enrolled nearly 2,000 students for January 2016, it's hanging, it's incomplete. Where's more information about it? Where's the independent clause? So this sentence becomes incomplete because there is no independent clause for the sentence, basically. Okay? So just now I mentioned about having an independent clause and dependent clause. So same goes with here. When is the subordinate conjunction here? Okay, so whenever you have these conjunctions, even if you have a subject verb object in the dependent clause, but because it's being paired or it has these subordinate conjunctions, automatically it becomes dependent and you need another independent clause to make it one complete sentence. All right? Now, I understand this could be a tiny bit harder to understand, but we shall be recapping this once again in the consultation. All right? So, sentence fragment can happen if there is no clear subject verb relationship, when the sentence is missing an essential verb, or when the sentence is subordinate to another sentence. Basically, if your subject, your verb, and your object is incomplete, if you don't have a subject, or if you don't have a verb, or even if you don't have an object in the whole sentence, it becomes fragment. Remember, if you don't have one of these subject, verb, object, it becomes fragment. Now here, let's take a look at an example of when a subject does not contain a clear subject-verb relationship. Here, befriending new students in the course of our studies. Laksa on display at the Love. These two are incomplete. It's fragment because the first one, there is no subject. Who is befriending new students in the course of our studies? So you need to add the subject here in front of it, because befriending here is the verb. New students in the course of our studies is the idea of the whole sentence. Okay? For the second one, what's missing here is the verb is. So laksa is on display at the Love, for example. Okay, so that is it. For the second circumstances is when the sentence is missing an essential verb that makes it a whole. So here, Melissa standing in the eyes of the world. What's missing here is the verb is. Okay, so you tell me where should we put the verb is. And also here, Lee as well as Marcus this deciding on what to get for dinner. Here, what's missing is also another verb is. Right. Um, you also would have, as I mentioned, subordinate conjunctions like although and as. So once you have subject, verb, object that is being followed by a subordinate conjunction, here you need another independent clause to make it complete. So it's hanging, it's incomplete. All right. So that is why all of these examples, all of the last three slides that I showed you are fragmented or incomplete, basically. What I want you to do is that I want you to take a look at these. Take a look at these sentences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take a look at all these 6 sentences and try to reconstruct it and try to make it as grammatically correct again. So these are examples of fragmented. Please write it down, and then on Thursday during our consultation hour, sorry, excuse me. So during our consultation, we would try and discuss about the answers. Okay, all right. Okay, please try and do that. Now we shall be talking about comma splices and also run-on. So run-on and comma splices are always linked to each other. If you can understand comma splices, it's more often that you can understand run-on as well, because it's interrelated to each other. So first of all, can you please stop and pause this video? Try to answer these punctuation marks. Okay, try to do this. So when it comes to English language, punctuation is also very, very important. And I can observe that a lot of students who are very good in English very often would create mistakes that revolves around punctuation. When it comes to punctuations, we have different types. We have full stop, We have comma, we have colon, we have semicolon, we have question marks, we have hyphen, we have exclamation marks, we have apostrophe, we have slash, we have quotation marks, we have round bracket, and also ellipsis. So all of these would serve for different purposes. Okay, but most importantly, that you have to understand if you want to do comma splices and also run on are full stop and also comma, maybe semicolon as well. All right. So first, let's take a look into run-on. So run-on is basically when two independent clauses join together in a sentence without a punctuation or conjunction. So just now we learned about independent clause, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. When you have subject, verb, object in one single sentence, two independent clauses, but you don't put a conjunction or you don't put the punctuation semicolon here, it becomes run on. So run on is a mistake that you should not do. So let's take a look at an example here. We bought nails. We bought a hammer. So we bought nails here. You can make a full stop here and make it into two separate sentences. We bought nails, full stop, one sentence, and another one, we bought a hammer, full stop. So we can divide this into two different sentences, or you can put a semicolon in between we bought nails, semicolon, we bought a hammer, full stop. Okay? Or you can add a conjunction. We bought nails and we bought a hammer. Okay, so in order for you to repair run-ons, you can put punctuations or you can put conjunctions. Okay, same goes for comma splices, but comma splices is basically referring to unnecessary use of comma. So sometimes students they tend to put a comma instead of a full stop. Okay, for example, I love the new Netflix series You. It's got a very handsome psychopath as the lead role. So here, I love the Netflix series You. Here it should be a full stop and then I here is capitalized because it should be a different um, independent clause. But you can also put a semicolon in between these to become one single sentence. So here, if you want to repair this sentence, you can put either a full stop and then you make this capitalized, or you can put a semicolon, and you can put it in between here to make it into grammatically correct sentence. Okay, that is how you do comma splices. Right, so as I mentioned, four ways to correct comma splices could be is either you want to put a full stop and then you capitalize the first letter that comes after that, or you can put a semicolon, or you can put a conjunction or another conjunction here, basically restructuring some words. All right, this is how you correct comma splices. Now, what I want you to do, I'll be showing you guys some troubles and problems. And from here, I want you guys to do this as a homework. And for our class on Thursday, I would want to basically sharing with you guys the answers. So before we go into the answers, please try and do it yourself. Okay? So basically take your phone, try and do this, or just pause this video and try to construct and see what's the problem. Is it a comma splice? Is it a run-on? And try to reconstruct the sentence. Okay? Now, I want to take this opportunity to talk about the last subtopic that we want to cover today, which is on parallelism. So basically, when we talk about parallelism, we're looking at sentences that are flowing. So basically, flow of a writing, the reason why we have parallelism in writing is because we want to maintain consistency in our writing so that we can have better flow of idea, so that it's easier to read and also understood. And parallel sentences ensure that there are no misinterpreted ideas in your sentence, and that your ideas can be expressed in a more organized manner. There are two levels of parallel structure. The first one is word level. So this happens when you are working into separate words. For example, here, Princess Diana is a beautiful, generous, and influential figure in the monarchy. So here, in order for us to keep it consistent and parallel, we have here adjective or words to describe a person. So in this context of this sentence here, we're describing Princess Diana. So we're saying that Princess Diana was a beautiful adjective. Another adjective here is generous, and also influential is also another adjective for here. So we try to keep it consistent and parallel by putting adjective, and also adjectives. Okay, so you can't put adjective, noun, and also verb. So it's not parallel. Got it? Okay. So same goes to the second sentence here. Bambi sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears to ensure his success. So here, Bambi sacrificed blood. Blood is noun. Sweat is also noun, and also tears are noun. So blood, sweat, and tears are all nouns. So basically, consistently use the same parts of speech to ensure that you guys are, you making sure that your sentences are parallel. So this is at the level of word level. But now here comes a bit more complicated, where you try to maintain parallelism when it comes to phrase level. Now phrase level is when there are string of words, more than one single word. So here, if you can see it, the carpenter designed the framework, prepared the materials, and arranged the manpower to design the beautiful house. So here, as you can see, design the framework, prepared the materials, and arranged the manpower. So we have three different verbs here: designed, prepared, and also arranged. But what's lovely about this sentence is that they are all in past sentence. Okay, past tense. So here we have designed, past tense, prepare the material, and also arrange the manpower. So if you can see, it's very much parallel. Design what? The framework. Prepare what? The material. And arrange what? The manpower. So here it follows the same simple past form, hence it's parallel. Okay? So now let's try and practice. So please pause this video and try to write your answers. So here we have, when Dolores realized that her father had made lima bean and rice for dinner, she dup, 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 claimed to feel nauseous and excused herself from the table. The bag of stale popcorn in her room would tide over until breakfast. So, what's the correct answer for this one? Doo-doo-doo-doo. It's A. So here, why is it A? Because of the past tense clutched. So here, if you can see, the next verb that is going on there was ed, which was past tense, and excused. So D here. So con- basically, parallelism or consistency, making sure that all of the verbs are consistent, all past tense. Okay, so let's take a look at the second one here. Can you pause this video and try to do this? When Diane takes her beagle for a walk, Santana enjoys sniffing for edible garbage, ta 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 ta, and lunging at squirrels. Which one is the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen? A, B, or C? The answer is obviously B. Why? Because consistency, sniffing, and lunging. So ing, ing, ing. Obviously, the answer is ing. Easy, right? Here we have Amanda cashes her paycheck. The money goes into her saving account, cappuccino fund, and A, B, or C? Definitely C. So here we have saving account, cappuccino fund, and credit card balance. because here paying ing, we're not using any verb towards her credit card balance. It's wrong because here it's saving account. Saving account could be, this one could be like a noun phrase. Cappuccino fund is also a noun phrase, and this one is also credit card balance is also a noun phrase. Hence, parallelism. Okay. Right, we have one more here. Bonkers on 19-pound golden retriever. Oh, so cute. Choose on furniture. Blah 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 blah. Snots on car windows and inconvenience when we enter that. So which one is the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen? C. So chews on furniture, drags us around the neighborhood, and snots up the car window. So basically, parallelism is looking into how you want to make sure that everything is consistent throughout your sentence. As simple as that. Okay? So today in this video, we have talked about different types of sentences. We also talk about the three sentence errors, which are fragments, we have comma splices, and also run-on. And also we talk about parallelism. So please make sure that you try and do the homework or also some questions. And then we shall be, please come and join me for today's Thursday session. On Thursday, we're going to do a bit of like a consultation, very short one, so that we can discuss and have a more, like a better discussion to discuss about the grammar errors. Right? Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Have a good day. Bye bye.